So I've shown you guys exactly what had the best covers and the worst covers in my collection. Today I'm going to be talking about the most expensive games that I've purchased that are in my collection. These are games that I've found at conventions, retro game stores, and anywhere in between. And let's get on with the list after this opening video. So guys, like I said, this is all about showing you guys the most valuable games that I've purchased for the amount that I paid for. So let's get on to number one, and number one is the Street Fighter Alpha 2 for the Sega Saturn. I paid $125 for this guy, and I can't actually remember where I got it from, but this is such an awesome video game. It was needed in my collection. Of course, I love Sega Saturn, and Street Fighter, as always, one of my all-time favorite games, and I don't regret buying it.
Round one, fight!
Next up on the list is Panzer Dragoon 2 for the Sega Saturn. I got this for $150, and it definitely is one of those games that you don't see very often, but when you do, you want to make sure you pick it up because it is very fun. It's like a rail-type shooter game. Definitely worth it if you guys still have the Sega Saturn. If you don't, you can get the remake that came out not too long ago. Definitely recommend you guys try this one. It is one of those awesome games that I think you'll need to experience it to enjoy it. Next up is a game that I have a repeat of, but for a different system, and that is none other than Street Fighter Alpha 2 for the SNES. I got this for 200 bucks from a retro game store here in London, Ontario called Game Cycle. It is complete in box. It's actually a really great condition. As you can see, I like to keep the prices of the stuff that I get just because it gives me the reminder of how much I spent, but definitely another amazing game. Definitely worth purchasing if you do find a box copy, especially like I did. You want to jump on that sucker. Next up is one of my absolute favorite games that's actually coming out as a compilation, and that is the Marvel vs. Capcom series. This is number one for the Sega Dreamcast, and I got this one from the Toronto Game Exchange. I got this guy for $220, I believe it was. Definitely a rare find because, like I said, I didn't have this one for the Sega Dreamcast, and Sega Dreamcast is my all-time favorite system. Definitely one of my rarer games. Awesome game. If you guys have not played it, make sure you get the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection that comes out hopefully sometime this year for PS4, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch.
Capcom presents.
Next up, and it's a sequel to the game that we already talked about, and that is Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Now this, of course, does not need any explanation. It is one of the greatest fighting games ever made, and of course you can get it for the Dreamcast, you can get it for PlayStation 2, and eventually you'll be able to get it as part of the Capcom Fighting Collection. But got this guy for $230 is what I got, yes. And I am so happy that I was able to add this to my collection. I also got this one at the Toronto trade event. Awesome place. Make sure you do go and check them out whenever they're in town. Definitely a lot of vintage video games, guys. That's worth buying.
Capcom presents.
Ready?
Marvel vs. Capcom 2. New Age of Heroes.
Next up, he is the best ever video game character. You guys know how much I love him, and honestly, if you haven't told right behind me, then you know. It is none other than Sonic Adventure 2 for the Sega Dreamcast. The first appearance of our man Shadow. This is the year of Shadow, and definitely this was a hot find. I found this at the Woodstock trading show a couple years ago for $250. Definitely one of my all-time favorite games. Not as good as Part 1. Sonic Adventure will always be the best game for me, but Sonic Adventure 2 is on top as one of the best ever made games.
Sigma Alpha 2 heading due south over the city. We're en route. Everything's a go.
This is Control Tower. We have you on radar. Report cargo status of captured Hedgehog aboard. Over.
That's a 10-4. Cargo secured on board and... What? The Hedgehog is gone. It's taking out everyone aboard and...
What's wrong? Come in. Over.
Freeze! What do you think you're doing? Get that Hedgehog!
Talk about low-budget flights, no food or movies. I'm out of here. I like running better.
So this game is so legendary, so controversial, so different compared to what we know about the Blue Bomber. I'm talking about the Mega Man 64 game, or Mega Man Legends in PlayStation format. Now this guy rolled me back $290, and I'm so happy that I found this. It is complete in box, and it is pretty damn good condition. Now, this is one of my absolute favorite Mega Man games of all time. The 64 version has better visuals, but the audio is probably one of the worst out of the two. But definitely, if you guys have never played Mega Man Legends or Mega Man 64, make sure you guys pick up a copy, download the emulator. I don't care. You need to see what this game is all about, and I love everything about this game.
Mega Man? Mega Man, can you hear me?
Just barely. Transmission isn't too clear.
I got worried because the transmission got cut off suddenly.
I'm okay. I think this is the last door. Whoa, it's still active. The reactor's still running.
Great! What about the refractor?
It's here.
Next up is a very rare video game that a lot of people probably never heard of. It is an anime fighter, also from Capcom, and it is Tech Romancer. Now, what this is a bunch of mechs, fighting game that you can pick up. I got this one from Fan Expo a couple years back for $300. I remember paying $300 for this guy. It was one of the more expensive games, but definitely one of the best in the collection. I'm glad I got it because, like I said, I used to have this one a while back ago, but then I don't know what happened to it. I was very happy that I found one, and it is pretty mint condition and complete as in box, which is one of those things that you never really know what you're going to get until you kind of get it.
Romancer.
Next up is a freaking game that I never thought I would enjoy. It came out when I was a kid, and I never was interested in RPG games, but I wanted to play this one because it got remade for the Nintendo Switch, and I'm grateful that it did, because without playing the original, I would have never gotten the remake, and that is none other than Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. Now, incredible game. This is complete in box. Got this one for $300, as you can tell by the price up there. And I'm so happy that I was able to get this in a pretty decent condition. Like, this is a complete game. Cover, you have the manuals, you have the game cart in actual pretty amazing condition. And like I said, if you have not played this game, do play this one and do play the remake. It is 100% well worth it. Definitely one of the great games that I have in my collection. This is my second highest game I've ever paid for. Definitely one of the classics. My rarest video game that I've paid the most for yet. There are many more games that I'm planning to go and find, and I know that they're going to be very, very pricey, but this is my number one most bought game, most expensively bought game, and that is Knuckles Chaotix that I got for $449. Now, this is a gem. This is, of course, for the 32X. Now, I've never, ever seen this game in stores when I was younger. The 32X was definitely one of those systems that vanished in obscurity. But this is one game that I needed in the collection, and I really, really wanted it because Knuckles is one of my favorite characters in gaming history. And I could not let this go. I got this at Fan Expo. This was the most pricey video game that I've ever purchased yet. that is my list, guys, of my top 10 most expensive video games that I purchased, whether it be at conventions, trade shows, the used game stores, or wherever. These are my most expensive games. What is yours? Let me know in the comments here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and follow button to iDanny, where you get more videos like this and unboxings, live stream gaming with all you on the comfy couch. Thank you for watching, guys. Take care and have a great one.